Welcome to the Driveway Happy Hour, a podcast that celebrates the humor in everyday life. I want to welcome you to our podcast. Thank you for listening.
Woohoo!
And welcome our legions of driveway drinkers.
This is our second episode of the Driveway Happy Hour. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks to you that sent us a note via info@thedrivewayhappyhour.com. That's the best way to reach out to us, is at info@thedrivewayhappyhour.com. It's been a busy week. We're into what? Quarantine day 50 something plus now?
And let me just say this about being in quarantine, and you got to wear your mask when you go out. You know what I found out?
What?
That my breath is not always springtime fresh.
It's not fresh.
You know, that mask will teach you something about,
you should brush before you get out.
I now carry a bottle of, Listerine in the car just so that I'm not wiping myself out by being in the store while I'm shopping.
It happens. Well, today I am drinking a Pinot Noir. In fact, I'm going to top off my, screws me out there. Top that off a little bit there. To our legions of Driveway Happy Hour listeners, as you mentioned, hello and welcome back. This is the week for me. It's been just difficult because I don't know if just the collective absorption of all the news or just I'm getting tired of my surroundings or whatever. But you remember that line from the Eagles song, "Don't let the sound of your own wheels drive you crazy"?
Okay.
Remember that?
I'll talk. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's the way I feel right now. Like I'm going crazy from the same old stuff every day. And honestly, I was going to bring this up too. How many of you have had arguments with your pets while under quarantine? I have. I've had 3. Actually, 2 before today. I have a cat named Quinn. And while getting ready for the podcast today, I stepped on the cat's tail by mistake. So now every time I go next to the cat, you may even hear the cat hiss at me at some point. The cat is doing that weird meow that cats do when they're getting ready to hiss at you. It sounds like a baby crying. Wow. So how many of you out there have had those types of arguments with your pets already?
I have had issues. The cat is going to have separation anxiety when we finally go back to work, as I understand it, because you've been around all this time and now all of a sudden you're going to disappear. But the other issue was we were, we have a male cat. It's neutered, but we play with this cat because it doesn't have any other cats, and we don't let it out.
It's an indoor cat. Okay.
Right. So we are its entertainment. We were kind of roughhousing with him the other night, and man, he jumped at my partner and scratched his face. You talking about somebody that was upset,
Well, it's weird because you're around your pets so much that when they do something like that, when they go off the chain on you, it's you don't know how to react. Because like on the one hand, you're like, I don't know what kind of pet owner you are, but I'd be like screaming no, or
well,
what the F, Quinn?
Clearly we caused the problem, but it was like, on the other hand, it's like you should know better than that. So immediately,
we feed you every day.
Right. Immediately, while my partner went to seek medical attention, I picked the cat up, by the back of his neck, the way your mother would. And I took the cat.
My mom did that all the time.
And quarantined him.
All the time, my mom would pick me up by the back of my neck.
So we quarantined the cat for about an hour by himself, so that he understood that what just happened can't happen. It's one thing to swat, and we high five him, and and he'll run up behind me and bite at my leg or something like that, just walking down the walkway, and that's fine. But
I think all cats do that.
No.
Yeah, I think all cats do that, and if they really wanted to hurt you, they would bring their claws out. So they're really kind of playing. But who's that guy? He's not the cat whisperer. But it's that type of show, except it's for cats. It's on cable TV. And he would say that, that cats are going through an emotional time right now. And that whenever you rile a cat up like that and it's your fault, best thing to do is just leave them alone, give them their space.
Right.
Because they're not going to get the lesson by, And out
And
of personal
I didn't
experience, I can tell you that.
quarantine him, like throw him in the garage or anything like that. I put him
Right.
in my office. He likes to be here.
Right.
He feels
You just
comfortable in here.
separated everybody until
Right.
cooler
Yeah.
heads
Let's
prevail.
just
Yeah,
chill.
well, I'm sure you're not the only person going through that right now. I've gone through it, and it's really, you find yourself going, well, I'm having an argument with a pet. What am I doing? I'm losing my mind. So that's just kind of a natural thing. I mean, people that have dogs say that dogs love that they're home. That dogs wish the humans would never leave home, and the cats are like, when are they going to leave home?
When are they going to?
When are they going to leave? When do we get our house back?
I see no issues with my cat. His name is Catmandu. When I get home after we have gone to the store, he's like, "Really? You're back? Okay."
Already?
Yeah.
Has it been that long?
Right. Have you seen the restaurants, the restaurants that are starting to open up? There is a restaurant that is using fancy dressed mannequins to help socially distance themselves.
I did. There's a restaurant in South Carolina that has blow up dolls. Not the anatomically correct ones.
No.
Just regular ones. There is one like that, and there's another one like in Virginia where they're using mannequins. And I think it's a great idea.
The blow up doll is the one with the mouth is like.
As I said, it's not that one. It's just a regular.
It's not that. It's just a regular. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
It's
right. Not that one.
Mannequin.
No,
right.
no.
Well,
no.
the servers don't like this. Their first reaction was, that table right there is stiffing me.
Well, then maybe they'll
Thank
have
you. Bum. Okay.
I got it. A mannequin
okay.
stiffing. Oh, yes. All right. Hopefully, as the show goes along, the jokes get better. But just in case, I'm going to take a little sip of wine.
Yes,
maybe mine will get better.
Cheers to you. And I love day drinking.
But
it's 1:30 in the afternoon for us.
You don't have to tell everybody our business. But if I walked into one of those restaurants that are open and they had like mannequins, I thought to myself, that would be kind of, novel and kind of fill the picture a little bit, make you think there's more people in the restaurant. But then I started thinking even further, which shows I have too much time on my hands, because I started thinking, if they really wanted to convince people like these were real, whatever, customers, then they would have like, half-eaten plates of food in front of them, or, a half glass of tea. I mean, how far do you want to go to stage this is what I'm saying.
I didn't like the whole concept until I actually saw the picture of the restaurant that's in somewhere in Washington, outside of Washington, D.C.
They dressed them up with real clothes.
They're from the 30s and the 40s. It's kind of, I guess it goes along with the restaurant, and that would make sense. So if you're like a steakhouse with the Western theme, the people in between you, it would be cowboys and things like that.
Ladies in the big saloon dresses. That's
right.
That's a wardrobe.
I get that.
Nightmare right there.
Right. So I run a comedy club. Who would I put in between tables?
Who would you put? I don't know. Cutouts of Steve Harvey. I don't know what to tell you.
I think we use the real blow up dolls.
That's a mental picture for you.
And just because we need to make the money, let's set them up for rental.
Okay. Buy one, take one. Okay.
You can have one at your table if you like.
In a conversation we had earlier this week, we talked about how we wanted to appeal to everybody. So we can't talk about blow up dolls all show long here. We just can't talk about blow up dolls.
Well, let me bring this up then. Yesterday was National Biscuit Day.
Was it?
Did you know that?
No, I sure didn't.
It was Buttery Golden Goodness Day. National Biscuit Day.
I'm trying to think if I even have a can of biscuits in the refrigerator.
Well, see, that was going to be my point. There, I made some biscuits the other day for a friend of mine, and made country ham biscuits, and I got the big Grand's biscuits, with buttery flavor, and made it. But back in the day when I grew up, Grandma Roper made biscuits from scratch in the kitchen, and she made her famous cheese biscuits. And to this day, our family talks about her famous cheese biscuits. So the biscuits would be made, and then she would stuff cheese in the middle. And then if the kids were here, and a lot of us, she would include grape jelly. So it would be a cheese
Oh, wow.
biscuit
Little,
with
little grape
grape
jelly
jelly.
accent, little grape
Oh
jelly
my
surprise.
goodness. Better than Krispy Kreme ever.
I don't know what is it. What is it about grape jelly? Because it's funny you say that. Because maybe some people need some ideas for recipes right now. Because that was something else I want to talk about. Aren't we all just sick of what we cook right now? At least I am. I know you're a better cook than I am. But I remember my mom used to make when she would like her barbecue sauce, like for ribs or whatever we were having, country style ribs. What my mom would make. Um, her barbecue sauce was not anything special, but it was like a craft hickory flavored barbecue sauce, right? She would heat that up in a saucepan and add a half a jar of grape jelly and cook that down a little bit and then pour that on top of the ribs at the end. And I mean, that was finger licking good. I mean, it really was. Who would have thought you put jelly in barbecue sauce? But I guess that, when you watch the cooking shows, they throw in brown sugar and stuff like that.
Guy
But I'm
Fieri
I'm
was
sick.
here in Columbia several millennia ago and did a special segment for diners, dives, and whatever that show.
Diners, drives, drags,
Diners, driving, yeah,
drivers,
at
diners. Yeah, that one.
Paulie's front porch in 5 Points, because they have a grape jelly hamburger, delicious.
Really? And they like stuff it a grape jelly in the middle or something?
They put it on the top. Yeah, it's on
On
the
the
top.
top.
Yeah, it's part of the toppings.
Wow. Never
With the
thought about
lettuce
that.
and that. Delicious. Go there
Wow.
for that burger.
But are you tired of your own cooking yet?
I I will say this.
Mm-hmm.
I have not eaten out at all since this began. We have cooked at
Wow.
home every meal. Not
Well, I think
not even a burger, not even a
really.
favorite piece of chicken, no Krispy Kreme donuts, nothing. We have stayed at home. Uh, my partner's ultra paranoid, just ultra paranoid,
See,
and
I
so
was thinking y'all did that. I was thinking that you were doing that because you're trying to do that
keto.
keto friendly
I'm doing the
keto. Sorry.
keto. I am doing the keto diet, but it's not a hard diet to do. It's real simple. You just can't have bread. You
Well, I
just
live alone,
eat
and I
pasta
get
and
tired.
rice.
I live alone, I am quite tired of what I cook. Although I continue to eat it, but it's
I'm
and I'm
tired of
sure there's some
cooking. I'm
things
not
that
tired of the food I'm eating. I'm tired of cooking and
okay.
cleaning. I mean,
Well,
it's
see, like you don't cook all the time. Your partner cooks sometimes, right?
we try to take turns. One night,
Okay. Okay. All right. You see.
next night me.
Okay. Well, see. Okay. Now I'm sorry. That doesn't mean crap now because see, I'm just by myself, and the cat doesn't know how to cook,
Right.
so it's just me.
Right.
So I have every right to be
I
tired
get
of
it.
what
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
cook.
Because
I'm
it takes
tired of my
10
spaghetti
minutes for me to
sauce.
cook a dinner and it takes 20 to clean it. So I prefer to do the cooking and let him do the cleaning.
It takes 10
But
minutes to order takeout.
he gets tired.
To
I'm
order
not
10
doing it.
minutes.
I'm
10
not doing it.
minutes.
It's too complicated. It's another shower, another set of clothes. Because I mean, we are that couple. When we
Yeah,
come
but
home,
that
we
doesn't mean
strip in the mudroom. It goes into the washing machine. We're in the shower. We're not.
okay. So
We
you're
we
like
don't.
well, I think that's good. I think that, and I thank you for doing that. But I have figured out a way to get takeout, and it's not like I get takeout all the time. I'll get takeout once every 2 weeks, but it'll be, the local Chinese place I'm kind of familiar with. Who else is it? There's a local, like a local place that has like an American menu that's locally owned that I'll go to that I'm used to. But even then, when I go, that's all of them have curbside pickup. Um, I very rarely have to sign for anything. And even if I do, I have gloves in my car and I have Lysol wipes in my car and I have them put it in the seat from the passenger window. And then
Right.
I pick it up with a Lysol wipe. I pick it up at home, come inside, and then I immediately put it in the sink and I pull out all the contents and put it onto plates. So I never have to. So basically what I'm trying to do is the external parts of the to-go box never touch the internal part. So, and then I throw all that away, then wash all my hands, take my shoes off, change my clothes, do all that. And the key to it though is to order more than you would normally eat, so that way you have some for the next day. Like if you're going to order, maybe order 2 entrees. Like this is like for somebody who lives alone, I'll order 2 entrees sometimes. So I have one for the next day or something. Order, or you could order a foot long sub and eat half of it on one day. But I know many people are out there. I mean, I'm looking at, I did see one recipe for some reason, crock pot chicken pot pie sounds good to me. So that's my next thing I'm going to try to make is, and then I saw a YouTube video of the Italian grandmother who makes some kind of Sunday roasted chicken. That looks really simple. Just a little bit of olive oil and, oregano and Parmesan cheese, and you just roast it all together with some potatoes, sweet potatoes and carrots, I think. So, that kind of rustic food is kind of attractive to me right now.
You should check out John Witherspoon's Cooking for Poor People channel on YouTube. He passed away earlier this year, or
cheers
right
to
at
him.
the end of last year. Yeah, he's a good guy. Really great guy. But his saying for his channel was cooking for poor people because everything tastes good when you're hungry.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah. So he talks about cooking chicken feet and that kind of stuff.
That's really country.
Yeah.
You can tell you're really in the country when, in the city, you can still see, I used to be able to see boiled eggs, in a big jar on the counter in some places. When you're really out in the country, you see the pickled chicken's feet.
Right.
That's country.
The bar that I used to go hang out with, I mean, that was right there. Pickled pig's feet. We got the pickled eggs. We got they get them at Costco and they sell them because they don't have a kitchen. It's the grossest thing ever. But
I wonder if they're open for curbside pickup. Let me get a couple of ham hocks.
They have great prices on their drinks. That's why I go there.
So this is just some kind of salty meat you can eat on, so you could order another drink.
Yes, if you can handle it.
Wow. Well, there's a lot of restaurants that are having to do curbside pickup, but we've all seen the videos on television and YouTube. The strip clubs that are doing the drive-through pickup. I mean, that's American business at its finest, isn't it? We're gonna find a way. We're gonna find a way to make this work.
It takes a special restaurateur to be able to make to-go work where they actually can stay open and buy the food and give the service and pay the people, because it really is it can be a losing proposition unless you're like a pizza company who's designed, for that.
Well, tell me about it. What most people don't understand that. They figured, what's the difference? I get something to go. It seems like it would be less for the restaurant because, I'm not occupying seats or space, or why would it be more? And you're going to tell me why, because you know why. Why is it more?
The plastic utensils, the stuff. Everybody thinks those styrofoam things are cheap. They're not. A plastic cup, a plastic silverware, napkins, salt and pepper.
It's all cut into your profit.
It really, if you have an item on your menu that doesn't make a whole lot of money to begin with, and then you pack it up to go, whoa.
Well, that's why that's why I said when you order takeout, you should order double. Then that way, everybody makes a little bit of money.
Well,
I'm tipping.
I'm sure there are a lot of restaurants that wish they could require you to to buy double.
Well, speaking of food, I've heard of some weird new food combinations. There was a thing out on social media earlier this week that said that the latest rave is taking ice cream, whatever flavor you like, adding extra virgin olive oil to it, a little drizzle, and then a little pink sea salt. And they said it's like a really odd combination, but it's supposed to be all the rave. I've not tried it yet, but I don't know if anybody out there has tried it yet or not. Ice cream with extra virgin olive oil and pink sea salt.
There's a new ice cream flavor being offered in Hong Kong. It's called tear gas ice cream. It's made with peppercorns.
Peppercorns. Okay.
Yes, and it's a way to protest against the government, because they tear gas so many people. But that's how the flavor came about. But the store says,
I wonder if it tastes any good.
They're getting it's going to be hot, as they say, because it's made with peppercorns. There, it costs about $5 a serving. They're serving about 20 to 30 scoops a day.
Okay, but you know what the number one selling flavor of ice cream is in the
It
world?
also
It's
has
like,
wasabi and mustard in it. Oh my gosh!
I think if you like the hotter things in life and you like wasabi and peppercorns probably are not that hot. This just a flavor. I wonder if they're selling them. It's a protest scoops.
Yes, that's what they are. But it's a burn. You see, the peppercorns are
Burn like tear gas.
right. Exactly. It's that aftertaste
Wow.
that it gives you, and that's what they got to use.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we can talk about a new term for the term social distancing. We've cooked up some alternatives and want to get your feedback. We'll be back in a moment. This is the Driveway Happy Hour. Welcome back, and thanks for turning in the Driveway Happy Hour. I am Frank.
I'm Peter.
We are going to talk about a topic that we have all heard a lot about since all of this coronavirus crap started. And quite frankly, I'm ready for a new term. I'm tired of hearing the term social distancing. That along with commercials that say during these unsettling times. Tired of that as well. But here are my three candidates to replace social distancing. Number one, safe spacing.
Okay.
Okay. Number two, six spacing. Or number three, social spacing.
Okay. Yeah.
If you have a suggestion, hit us up at info@thedrivewayhappyhour.com. That's info@thedrivewayhappyhour.com. I just hate the term social distancing.
The worst thing I saw was show me strong. Show me strong. State
That's
of
like
Missouri.
hard to say to somebody. Hey, show me strong.
Yeah.
Because that's the way I'm thinking about it. What would you say to somebody if you're in the checkout and they get too close to you? I mean, I guess they get it right away. If you go, hey man, little distance, maybe if you just said a little distance, but it's just the whole thing of social distancing sounds so politically correct and prohibitive. It could be just the rebel in me that doesn't want to adhere to the term social distancing. Or
I have to do everything I can to not get in an altercation because, I'm trying to do my social distancing when I go to the.
You don't have a carry permit, do you?
No, I don't. That's why I don't worry about it. When I go to the grocery store and I'm socially distancing to get into the store and someone walks in out of the parking lot and just cuts in front of me, really?
But you know what? That's all pent up anger. Because you do want to go off and you're like, really? We're in the middle of a worldwide pandemic and you can't give me a break?
You don't see what's going on here. I mean, there's people behind me, there's people in front of me, and you just like, you see the space between me and this other person, and you just want to step in there like I'm not paying attention or anything. I'm like, really?
Well, sometimes you just need to have another drink. But I have a friend of mine, and the term that works for that situation is, this ain't what you want.
Well, I haven't said anything.
Just yell it real out. You can just mouth that through the windows. This ain't what you want, and they'll know that you're hood enough that they're not going to want the next step. So you can be real with parking lot Karen, so to speak, and every parking lot has one.
Yes,
and I mean that nicely. And if your name is Karen, I apologize, but that is
it's not.
It's just the term
that Karen's everywhere.
Right. But that's just the term that everybody, has picked out for overzealous bystanders that call the police on everybody.
How many people have had to participate in teleconferences either at work or just with your family?
Oh, man. Everybody.
How many, if you've used Zoom, have you gone into the app and used the touch-up appearance filter?
Oh, that's a selection?
That's a selection in Zoom.
Oh, you mean like Photoshop, like your face?
Right. It's like a filter.
Man.
Yeah, it blurs you a little bit. It's like Barbara Walters on ABC. It's just really
like a wrinkle cover.
Yeah.
Wow. I bet that's serious because you know how sometimes those filters can have unintended effects sometimes. I wonder how it actually works. It's amazing. I mean, if they can put bunny ears on people with the, with the cell phone filters, I guess they can do that. But I've started following this guy on Twitter. I think it's called Room Raider, ROOM, Room Raider. And what he does is he rates the backgrounds of all these TV people's live shots,
Right.
from their homes. And apparently to win, you have to have a little bit of green in there, a little pop of color, a balanced.
Well, now, when you say green, you're talking about a plant. Is that right?
Yes,
Okay. All right.
yes, yes. I'm not talking about.
I do have a plant. You see that?
You have a plant? Yeah, but it's behind you though. It's not really.
It's not
You
out
need
there
some
yet.
green. You need some green there. Anyway, so yeah, so you have to have like a little punch of color. You can't have Emmy awards behind you because that's like too much.
Oh, well, my whole office is about me. What are you talking about?
Well, now now that I look at it, I notice you have a lot of pictures of yourself on the wall. I mean, I'm just
Absolutely.
I'm just saying.
This is a shrine to me.
To you. That's right. Well, well, it's working, but it's a well-balanced shot. From what y'all can't see it on, obviously on a podcast, but just
watch
know
for it in a promo.
Okay. But they say that the perfectly framed shot has, a nice depth of field, good lighting. There's a lot of people that make that mistake where they sit in front of like a bright window. So then you just get the halo effect and you don't really see their face and it just looks horrible. Or you see the proof of life picture. Like if you do some kind of video conferencing and you're up against a white wall, you look like a prisoner or something. It's not a good look. It's not a good look.
I did want to buy a backdrop. I did buy a green screen the other day, but I'd love to have a backdrop. And one of the backdrops that I saw that would be great to buy, it is the inside of a prison cell.
Well, that probably
it looks great. It's fun.
I can't believe you can't find you couldn't you, or does it allow you? Can't you put in your own image? You can put your own image in.
You can.
You can do it with Zoom, I think.
You can
put your own image in. And that's really great that you do not have a photo of your personal collection from a jail cell. So that's good that you have to buy it.
Yeah,
so
I'd have to get the backdrop. Yeah. I don't have one of those that I
Well, it's not like they give you, not that I would know, but they don't give you your phone in lockup. I'm pretty sure of that. So
well, I don't know about that.
They might.
There's some prisoners that have had cell phones. They're trying to figure out how that happens.
That's true.
I don't understand how they get drugs in there.
You just need a friend with a drone, right? That's how they do it with drones and stuff, and they just throw it over. Or honestly, some of the personnel that work at the prisons bring it in sometimes.
Yeah, I
hate to say it, but it's true.
That's probably their retirement plan because they're being way
underpaid. They don't
underpaid.
get paid much.
That's right.
Yeah. I mean, I actually saw, talking about a drone, I actually saw somebody, it was like Quarantine Funnies or something on YouTube. And there was a guy who figured out, he rigged a way to put a light bulb. He's replaced the light bulb in his house with the drone. And he was just playing around. So he had some kind of mount on top of the drone that held a light bulb, right? Then he flew it up to the, it's like a can light, He flew it up there and then put it into the socket and then rotated the drone in mid-flight. And then the light came on, and then he pulled away.
Well, see, that would work
for fun.
I have that.
For fun.
I have that problem in my house.
That's right. You have a tall ceiling.
I have high ceilings, and then I had can lights put in because there were none in the room to begin with. So I said, well, how can you have a room with nothing? So I had them put in, and now that I look at them, I'm like, how am I going to reach and change that out? Even with some of those automatic things,
you need like you know what you can do, and I'll lend it to you. I have one. It's a huge pole that I have.
Right.
It has a little clip on it.
A little clip on the other end. That's right.
Yeah.
But it's got to be able to fit over, the floodlight.
I have that little contraption that goes on the end because that's how I replace my flood lamps. But the trick is you got to get really long-lasting LED lights or something. Natural looking ones, then that way you don't have to do it very often. But another thing I want to briefly mention in Hollywood news, I read an article today about Jennifer Aniston and Brad Pitt. And apparently Jennifer Aniston has finally forgiven Brad Pitt for calling their marriage uninteresting back in 2011. And apparently she held a grudge against them.
That's funny.
Because somebody had asked him kind of like, well, without asking it, they were kind of implying, what do you look for in a marriage or whatever? And he's like, well, I definitely need something that's not, he goes, I've been in a marriage before that was not very interesting. That was the quote, something along those lines. And, they're supposedly back together now, or at least friendly. But for some reason, the person he was married to, Angelina Jolie, for some reason, this is horrible of me to think this, but I don't know why, but I think like I wonder if she's a little cray-cray, that one. Because she was the one who used to wear her brother's blood around her neck. Remember that in a vial? Remember that?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. And when Brad Pitt met Angelina Jolie, wasn't he married? Or he was still married to Jennifer Aniston, and they made that movie, Mr. Smith, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, or whatever, and that's where they met. So, I think Jennifer's doing good because she's never really unloaded on her in the public eye, so to speak. But you know what? When you got $100 million coming in from friends, royalties,
you got something else to do.
Can't you just go buy that? There's also a picture out of Britney Spears floating in a really nice pool somewhere, probably in Las Vegas. One of those infinity edge pools, and she's kind of like draped over like one of those little floaties out in the middle of the pool, and she has her arms over the side, and she's looking up into the sun, obviously posing. And then the next picture is her, boyfriend, who's a really good looking person, with no shirt on. It's kind of like, okay, she's a mom, right? Like, I get that, and she's still trying to be a pop star. I get that. She's got that residency going in Las Vegas, but it's just like, it's like during the coronavirus, is that when you want to be, putting out those kind of pictures? You know what I mean? It's just like kind of like, really, your ego cannot take it for just a moment, for it to be about maybe first responders or doctors or something. I'm just saying, it was just kind of weird that she, but her dad still runs her estate because she's got some issues.
Well, keep it in the family.
If you're broke, and you're crazy, you're crazy. If you're broke and if you're crazy and you're rich, you're eccentric. So she's eccentric.
Okay, right. How about Maurice Fain from Love and Hip Hop Atlanta?
What happened with that?
Well, he has a company that is a transportation company, and he filed for some of the economic relief plan payroll. Yeah.
He was trying to make it seem like he had a trucking company or something.
That's right. He has
got
no
$2 million.
He's got $2 million, and he bought himself a Rolls Royce and a Rolex, and here comes the FBI, and you are going to jail, son. Bye-bye.
I didn't know they were checking.
But he did, to his credit, he paid the $40,000 he was behind in child support. So
right off
the money wasn't. That's at least he thought of his baby mama.
I think I did read about that because yeah, exactly. I did hear about that guy because he had like 40,000 in cash in the house, and he
was
bought a bunch
around.
of weirdo stuff.
All right, he got $1.5 million, and he used it to purchase jewelry, the Rolex, 5.73 carat diamond ring.
Man, the judges are not going to be easy on people that do that.
He had $9,400 on him in his pockets when.
How do you have that much money in your pocket? I mean, during this whole coronavirus thing, literally, I have the same $20 that I had 2 months ago because nobody wants to take cash, so I pay with the credit card or online or whatever. So I still have the same physical $20 in my wallet that I've had for 3 months.
Well, the 10 grand was on him, but but in the house he had a total of 80,000 in cash. How can you sleep with $80,000? Well, I guess you sleep.
Well, as soon as the government already knew
about it.
Not
laying out on the table, is it?
Well, I mean, if to cash the check, the bank is like sending all these alarms out. Hey, government, I just cashed a check for 1.5 million. Plus he got the loan from the government, so obviously they know about it. I guess some people, crooks are stupid. I guess he figured, well, everybody's getting money right now. They won't really check.
Well, or did the bank turn him in? Maybe that's what happened here.
Yeah. Well,
You want to say, hey, the bank's complicit, but maybe the bank was the one that said, hey, here's a business that we got the loan for, and we've never seen the payroll, you know, and suddenly he wants all this cash and stuff. But man,
yeah, that's man, there's going to be a lot of that fraud and abuse with all this money because
right. But they're gonna get it back. I mean, that stuff is gonna show up.
you get
It's
it back,
just
you go into jail. He's going to be making
it's
bricks.
just like anything. You can only hide for a little while, and then it's gonna come back.
Do you really think that? No, I'm
Yeah.
just kidding.
Yeah, no. Have you
I
ever
got nothing
gotten
to
it?
hide.
Have you ever gotten away with anything? Not
Nope.
me.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
No,
It always
I
comes.
paid
Anything
every
done in the
last
dark.
dime.
Anything
Yeah.
done in the dark comes to the light of day. That is for sure. If you live a minute, that happens. I saw a concert the other night. It was the one that Keith Urban did. He did it at a drive-in in Nashville, Tennessee. It was for all the nurses and first responders in the Nashville area. It was kind of cool because he used a drive-in theater up on the stage, and they shot it with a camera and projected it onto the big screen, so everybody was watching from their cars and could tune into the FM radio. Plus, they had some sound reinforcement on the stage. Crazy thing though, it looked like a regular concert. It had the lights and everything, but it was really only two people on stage. It was Keith Urban and one other kind of keyboard guitar player / singer, and they were playing to basically karaoke tracks. They had their own version of it, but they had pre-recorded music they were playing along with, like the rhythm section was pre-recorded, and of course it was good sound and you really couldn't tell, but it was an interesting way to throw a concert. And they interviewed some people after the show, and they really enjoyed it. So it's kind of interesting that all those drive-in theaters that have just barely been hanging on with the in the summers, their real estate could become a lot more valuable as regionally people try to put on concerts and whatnot, or maybe just farmers that have big fields, that can accommodate a lot of cars, that you could come in and put up a portable big screen and have a concert. So it's going to be interesting to see how entertainment is handled moving forward, whether it's going to be, drive-in, because it is nice. The thing about having a car and driving in is you can contain people to the car, right around the car. There's a home base that you can keep people.
Drive-in theaters are having a resurgence, and they're not necessarily doing it with big screen, blockbusters. They're doing it with independent films, and
Wow.
it's a success because it's a pent-up demand to get out. They'll go see an independent film where they might not go downtown, to the local independent, indie film theater. They're going to the drive-in because they can take the whole family and see, an IFC kind of film on the screen, doing real well. They have big releases. Some independent films are making $200,000-$400,000 on opening night in drive-in movie theaters.
Hey, I know a lot of people. There's not too far from here, maybe 40 minutes out of town. There's a drive-in theater, in Monetta, and they have a new. For years they struggled, but they finally got a new projector where they could show the digital movies, a digital copy of the movie. They used to use film, but now all the movies are digitally delivered now. So now they have the capacity.
In the case of the independent films, they are actually producing them on celluloid and sending them out to these particular drive-ins that don't have the digital projectors.
Okay.
Because it takes a lot of that. Digital projectors are serious things.
Serious money. Well, I mean,
big money, and Monetta had to raise a lot of money to do
well, you'd think in the big cities that there's got to be some drive-ins. I mean, clearly there's usually just like one or two in a market. It's not something that's growing. It's more or less repurposed and hanging on for nostalgia's sake.
I'm telling you, something that a lot of people don't know about me is that I worked at a 14-screen drive-in theater one summer. Fantastic summer. I was the projectionist there.
Okay. Did they play just like regular movies?
Oh, yeah. They were all
Okay.
first-run movies. Serious thing. Yeah, it's a swap shop in Fort Lauderdale, the Thunderbird Drive-In there. So it was swap shop all day long. And then as soon as the sun went down, the entire parking lot area became the drive-in theater.
Oh, it was like a flea market before then.
Yeah, that's right. During the day, it's a flea market and a circus because they had a circus at 3:00. And I'm telling you,
circus?
this place was a
Oh,
serious flea
Now
market.
you see how Tiger King got going.
I'm telling you, this place was tremendous. I loved working there, and they gave me a golf cart.
Oh,
And
okay. You were big. You were a big man in charge at the
that's
driveway.
right. And I would run between the different booths to start the movies because they
you
were
had more
smart
than
about
one?
it. We have 14 screens.
Dang,
14 screens.
I've never heard of a drive-in with 14 screens.
Check it out. It's still operating today. And
Wow.
when I wasn't now they're not going to let me sit around and watch the movies. No. When you're done with getting the movie started, before you have to go to your next movie start, they had Heinekens and Heineken Lights on the back of the golf cart that I had to sell to people.
In between?
Yes, they were. Customers would flag me down. Hey, projectionist, come here. Give me a beer. Give me a Heineken. Thank you. Here you go. Wow.
Oh my God! That's
kind
of like you're like the guy at the driving range that everybody tries to hit with the golf ball. Except
yes.
you were selling Heinekens. I can't believe that. That's so cool.
It's a great job. I hated it. I worked for Preston Hen, and those of you that are from South Florida would know Preston. He was a tremendous fella. Believed in his business. He didn't play. There was no playing.
Is it still open?
Yes. Oh, wow. Preston used to boast that he had more people visiting the swap shop in a year than Disney had going to Disney World there.
Oh, wow. Them fighting words there.
It's serious. It's in Fort Lauderdale, and many, many acres. Tremendous group of people, much like the South Carolina State Fair, kind of tightly knit group of people that work together that are kind of, all related in a lot of ways. But very good people, down to earth, salt of the earth people. I loved working there. It was tremendous.
Wow. Well, every town has a flea market. That's another thing about all this. Some people miss the flea market, miss going to the flea market. That's all stuff. Who hasn't bought a cheap phone case at a flea market? Now, unfortunately, there's a lot of counterfeit items that get sold sometimes. That and puppies and pet turtles. But that's another day and another subject.
A puppy from a flea market. What's wrong with you?
They're out there though. I'm just saying. They're out there though. We encourage you all to have your own driveway happy hour in your own driveway. If you haven't done it yet, get your neighbors together, organize your own driveway happy hour, get to know your neighbors. And I would say exchange phone numbers for future use, because a lot of times you wish you knew who your neighbors were, and this is a perfect time to do it. So we invite you to do that. And it can have benefits too. I have a neighbor next door, and she and her family, a couple of times, I know that they've been really sweet. At Easter, she brought over a plate of Easter dinner. It was delicious. It was very nice. A couple of weeks later, she made a bunch of lasagna, and it was delicious. She brought it over piping hot. There are benefits to knowing your neighbors. And, if you live alone or single, why not get to know who your neighbors are? Because who knows? There might be a pandemic one day, and you'll need to get to know them better. You have to be ready for the end of times. Hey, can you spare a roll? Can you spare some hamburger meat or whatever?
What's the old phrase? These are the last days. We're in our last days.
That's it. That's what we're doing, and we're trying to have some fun with it. The Driveway Happy Hour is a podcast dedicated to finding the humor in everyday life, and of course, we're doing it, Peter. What? One glass at a time.
Cheers.
We'd love to hear your comments. Send us an email, a note at info@thedrivewayhappyhour.com. That's info@thedrivewayhappyhour.com. And thanks to my friend Peter, we are now up on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can subscribe to us on anywhere you listen to podcasts. I think it'll be a minute before we get in iHeart and on Apple, just because it takes them 2 weeks. Spotify did it like within minutes. For some reason, it takes Apple and iHeart a little while. They might actually listen to it before they put it up.
They have different protocols, but they probably don't have a whole staff. It is what
everybody's doing all they can do. So until next time, this is the Driveway Happy Hour. And remember, friends, survive.